Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third party review. In today's video we're taking a look at the Transform Element TE-02. Can't remember what they've called Bumblebee, but they've got Op leader on the side there and you can see Prime. So maybe that's next in line, but it's a nice box, very small, lightweight packaging. We've got the warnings on there not to eat your toys because you will choke. Let's crack him open. And here we have him out of his plastic prison, rotating on the base. Really nice looking figure. Now he's not designed to go alongside the likes of the 3A, Prime, etc. like Zeta was. This is a much smaller take. This is designed to be very much in keeping with the MPM scale that Takara have released. This is basically a kind of rehash and remold of what Takara did with their MPM Bumblebee, and he done to be as screen accurate as they could for the size and stature. I think personally they've done a pretty decent job in comparison to the official release. There are some things I'd probably change, but I think it's all down to what could and couldn't work in a design for a figure this size. And personally I actually really like how he looks. He's a nice little stout bee. He comes with those accessories. He also comes with a battle mask, and he is quite clearly based on his movie counterpart. Let's take a nice up close and personal look at Bee. Really love how he looks there. Really do love the colour and how clean he's come up. Let's take a look at the back there. We've got tyres and the doors. Everything holds together in place nicely. Really piercing blue eyes on there as well. As you can see, he's got his cannon and his blade. Got a blade for the second arm as well, to compare him to the other Bumblebees. Right, here we have him alongside the rest of his swarm, or the rest of the hive maybe, I don't know. But as you can see, he's more or less the same height as the official Bumblebee, which is this dude here. So maybe he's actually a little bit shorter, isn't he? Just a smidge shorter. And then we've got the oversized one. We've got the movie MPM Bumblebee, although that's the Legendary Toys version. And then we've got 3A and Zeta coming out on those edges there. I don't think the scale is terrible, to tell you the truth. I think it actually scales better with the MPM Prime than the likes of this Bumblebee, in bot mode at least. I always thought that the Bumblebee came up too high in bot mode. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's kind of a reworked version. Just tidying everything up and doing it as it kind of should be done. Making the back way more presentable than before. But like I said, it's dependent on what you want from your Bumblebee. If you're looking for one of the scale with Toy World, or the Black Mamba, oversized Prime, that sort of thing, then no, this is probably going to be far too short. But if you're looking for one for your MPM series, then you know this is always a fairly decent option. And yes, I know they're different movies, possibly different movie verse altogether. Some people say prequel, some people say reboot. But personally, I do think these two scale pretty nicely together. I know the scales are completely different between the Travis and the Michael, but I think it works, you know, in terms of what we kind of got from G1, etc., with Prime being fairly big in stature and Bumblebee being tiny. I think that scale actually works pretty darn nicely. Right, let's check out Bumblebee's articulation. The head can look up quite nicely. We can look down, we can go left, and we can go right. We do have some quizzical tilting in there as well. We have these butterfly joints on the arms, which allows them to come right the way round to the front. Joints that I really do like on a figure. I do love a nice butterfly joint, which they do just tab in and lock. Rotate around. We've got upwards on there, as well as an upper bicep rotation. We do only have a kind of single jointed bend on the elbow, but it's a fairly substantial bend nonetheless. It does the job. The hands are on rotation, and we have them on a pivot, and the fingers are articulated at 2 points, so they can extend and they can also flatten out. And the thumb again has a separate point of articulation, and it rotates forwards and backwards. If you can see here, I've plugged his cannon in here, and the thumb basically just rotates backwards and the hands just expand. You can cover those off. We have rotation on the waist, no real hindrance there at all. It comes around as far as these hip skirts, so that's where our limiting factor is. No abdominal crunch to my knowledge. I've played around with him for a little while, haven't figured out an abdominal crunch in there. So legs are on flexion joints forwards, but no real fear of any movement there. And back out to the side again, we do have some hindrance on these side panels. See what I did there? Look, hooks under and pulls out. Not ideal, but we can get around that by bringing the leg all the way out and then kind of rotating it up. We do have a bend on the knee. Again, not a huge bend, but enough. Kind of really chunked out calf muscles there. Feet can pivot quite nicely, like a really deep pivot there. Got some articulation on the toe, like so. It can come down. That's about all we've got on the feet. It's not a great amount, but a pivot and a bit of rotation is kind of enough, I guess. And we do have some heel spurs on there as well. So he's definitely not kind of as dynamic as the likes of 3A or Zeta, but he definitely kind of packs a punch, and I really do love his stature. He's not skinny or anything like that. He's looking quite hench, and I actually really like how he looks. I think it's a good look for B. Face mask installation is really easy. You just lift up this point, pop the retainer section out, come back in, pop the new one in and over, just push and peg that down, and then bring this in, tabbing in, and there we go. B with his battle mask. And that's a really nice look for him. And as far as stout little figures go, he's pretty well balanced as well. Just before we get him transformed up, I'd like to bring to your attention we do have LED lights in his cannon, which again is a nice feature. Mine came with batteries installed, but shh. Right, to get him transformed up, we need to just remove said weapons. These are actually really easy to plug in and plug out. They plug in at 2 points. Oh, he says, oh, there we go. Just a tab here and a tab here. That tabs into the wrist and into the hand. You want to untab both sets of weapons, like so. I'm going to keep his battle mask on for now and see if we can transform him with that on. Be interesting to see if we can. I've done it before with just his normal head, so I want to see if I can do it with his battle mask. Let's just close off his fists. Bring that thumb up. Close off the fists, like so. Come around to these feet. He's going to come down like so. His heel spur pieces are going to come out. These calf pieces are going to untab away from the leg. It's a really nice collapsing tab. It just slides in, and this just is that section here is spring loaded. I really like that. It just kind of disappears. So you want to do that with both legs. Just untab both of those sections, and the foot is going to rotate downwards like so, and that allows the heel spur piece to come all the way to the back. Right, come around to these feet sections. This is going to lift up, and that'll lift up. That's what we're going to form the roof panel of the car. We've got this piece here. Now this has dropped down. This should drop down nicely. This piece here is going to untab. That will come around, and this is on a hinge which kind of spins around. So as we bring that around, that's going to rotate rotate, 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 and come up nice and high, which will allow this piece to tab in shortly. And now that we've got this void here, this will come out. This is going to come all the way down and come around, and then again this will rotate around, and this will all form part of this wheel hub here. Then move this piece up. This is then going to fold down like so, and these will rotate around to the inside of the legs. You then want to push those toes back over so that they're flat. Now to get these feet panels lined up, the actual car section is on a slider, so that hinge slides around, so you can then get it lined up perfectly. And there's some tabs which will just tab in like so, and then this will come around and tab in. This will then collapse, and again everything actually tabs in remarkably well on this. Instructions say that we need to compress these leg panels, so they look like so. So I've just bent it at that knee joint. These back panels here are going to lift up and become disengaged. Come to the underside. These panels here are going to lift up, and those are going to lift up like so. Bumblebee's chest untabs from the actual panel piece, and as they come untabbed, we can slide those across. Allows this piece here to come up. We've got retaining tabs just on the side here. Those are going to untab like so and come out to the side, so that we're left with something that looks like this. This panel on the top here all moves far enough forward so we can bring the arms up onto the back. From behind the wheels we just want to push up, and these are going to come out and around and fill in that void. I actually like how they tuck in there. It's not the most complex thing, it's just there's so little room. They've compacted everything so tightly that it's actually a job for me to get my fingers in there, but the clearance is there. It's minimal, but it's actually there. Everything goes where it should. It's just just looks a little bit odd in the process, right? Bumblebee's head has sunk down. This front panel is going to rotate all the way around like so. That's going to fill in most of that void, and threading the eye through the needle there, this dash piece is going to rock upwards, and we're going to line that up with these panels. That should all line up, he says, and that's going to tab in to the front, and this one's going to tab into the front as well, and into the front. There we go. That's one thing I've noticed about this, is when you get everything lined up, it really does line up. You just need to make sure everything's tabbed in as it should be. What a funny little contraption. Rotate Bumblebee at the waist, so this is all lining up. And you want to make sure the arms are out of the way. And we've got these folding panels at the back here. These want to fold down. The wheels are going to fold outwards like so. This is then going to extend, and these will fold out, and there's a double hinge, and they're going to eventually fold up on this second hinge here. Come around to the arms, and again there's a tab just on here. That's going to untab from the arm. That's going to come out, and that's going to come out like so. I'm going to rock the torso piece in to the void. These are going to come around and around into the center there. This is going to collapse. Right, you want to push this kind of drip tray section down just so it's almost flat. The arms are going to fold in on themselves like so and collapse. This panel is then going to rotate around, and the arms are going to come out straight and they're going to come down like so. And then these should come up. This is going to come up and just lock these arms, holding them in. And in theory, he says, I love it when we get to points like this, we should be able to bring all of this together. But as you can see, all of this constant wriggling and jiggling, I've pulled everything apart, haven't I? But these should all come in. These are all going to tab in nicely, he says. I mean, everything has a place. The fact that we've got this grey piece here, that's going to slide underneath those wheel arches, and then there's a tab behind them as well. So everything goes in really securely. It's just a little bit of a mission getting everything lined up, because there's just so much going on. Let's get this tabbed in again. There we go. Bring the arm panel down into the void. There we go. These are going to come up. That's going to come down. This is all going to tab in. That's going to lock and tab. These will push and tab in as well. So many tabs. Okay, that's in. That's in, that's in. And that's going to come down, that's going to come up, that's going to come up. And then once we get all of that tabbed in, locked and loaded, these are going to rock and lock in to place. And there's a big fat tab on the dash to push and tab and secure all of that in firmly. And here we have him all kind of tabbed in. That is a pretty decent VW. Still a few of these haven't quite lined up as they should, but that's pretty nice. Haven't got his shoulders square, but that's probably what the issue is. But not bad at all. Especially love this whole section here, how that folds and collapses away and hides underneath. It's pretty clean on the underside there. Really quite remarkable how they can do that. Doesn't really roll as nicely as I would like. The clearance is so slight. Again, maybe I haven't quite pushed these sections in far enough, but the instructions are a little bit vague, to say the least. That's a good alt mode though. Good solid chunk of a VW. Definitely one of the better versions. A really solid piece, holds together remarkably well once it's tabbed in. I mean, it is a solid lump of plastic. Nice detailing. Maybe could have done with a little bit of weathering like Zeta did, but all in all, that's a pretty decent alt mode. Give you an idea of how he scales. Here he is along with the Weijiang, kind of basic oversized version. That's not too bad. MP10 there's being rather dwarfed by it, but my personal opinion, I personally think that the Black Mamba Prime, I know again it's different continuity, but I personally think that actually looks remarkably good. I'm actually very happy with how those fare. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Is this the Bumblebee for you? Are you waiting out for the Transcraft to see how that Bumblebee comes? Are you happy with your Zeta? Bumblebee. Personally, I think for MPM, this is a very good option. It does scale remarkably well. If you're looking for your 3A, then maybe look at the Transcraft or the Zeta. It's entirely up to whichever scale you are going for, but personally I think this does look remarkably good with the MPM primes, and I may even replace my MPM 3 with this and have a kind of mix of the two movies. But once you get it together, it does hold together remarkably well, and it does look exceptional. Bot mode is outstanding. Really happy with how that looks. Thanks again to TF Direct for making this review possible, for getting this out to me in this strange times that we live in. I'll include a link in the description below. Postage is slightly slower than usual, but EMS still seems to be working from TF Direct. It's just about a week to a week and a half from ordering to delivery, so that's not too bad at all. Until next time, for myself and the rest of the Collectables household, thank you all for watching. Goodbye.